Alex, back in OTAs, Jay said basically he needs you to be ready to go right out of the chute. That no learning curve when the season starts. Are you confident that you're there, and if so, why?
I mean, yeah, I'm confident I am, and we're going to find out. And there really was no other choice. I mean, to get to the point of it, yeah. I mean, this date was sitting here. We knew that this was going to come, regardless of opponent, and that you had to be ready to roll. All of us, certainly myself, getting caught up to speed. So, yeah, there was no other choice. Yep, and then we'll find out.
Just what do you think of the Cardinals and what kind of sticks out to them when you have prepared?
Yeah, they're good. They're good personnel on the defensive side of the ball. Really experienced on the back end. One of the premier corners in the league with Patrick. And then really, really active up front. Really good. I mean, they get after the passer. They're disruptive. I think they led. I mean, they had a ton of sacks in the preseason. I don't know if they led the NFL. A ton of turnovers, all kind of created from that. Can kind of create a lot of chaos. They do a lot up front. Like I said, very active. So, and then here's the unknown. They got a new head coach who's a defensive guy, and a little bit of the unknown out there that you got to prepare for.
There were some preseason injuries, absences. Chris Thompson, Jordan Reed, Doxson on down the line. What have you guys done to make sure that chemistry will be there when you need it?
Yeah, I mean, get as much work as we can when we can. And been out on the practice field with a lot of those guys working really hard. We've had great competition in practice. I think that good simulation of game-like atmospheres, but that's just trying to take advantage of those reps.
Alex, how do you prepare for that unknown? Is it just a lot of Carolina tape, or what's that process? What's the challenge?
It's hard. I think you try to touch all your bases and make sure you have your answers ready. At the same time, I think you could drive yourself crazy chasing ghosts and doing a lot of that stuff. So I think you prepare the best you can. Try to hit all of it to a certain extent, but then I think go out there and hopefully we'll find out pretty quick what the plan is. But I do think you got to let your fundamentals take over in situations like that. Let your rules take over. Trust what you're seeing, and then go out and execute accordingly. A little bit like camp, I think.
Alex, you may not know this, but Jay Gruden's 0-4 in season openers. Your recent history is almost the opposite. You've been really good week one. Is there something you try to get out there and set the tone early going into a season?
I mean, I think I've tried to think about some kind of commonality with these openers. It's hard. I mean, the opponents are all different. We're all different every year. So, it's hard to, I think, always find a commonality. I mean, just to say that, I know that you can look at those and think there's some kind of correlation or something, but I think these are all their own kind of individual fights, and we've got to find a way to beat Arizona. I mean, that's it this year. This team's got to find a way to go beat them. And I do think there are some kind of, like I said, and there are hidden things with the new coaching staff. They haven't shown a ton preseason-wise, so they're, like I said, that element to it. But no, I don't think there's any secret thing. I think you prepare the best you can to go win a game. I think it's a fine line to – you can get too overhyped with this and think that this game is going to define your season. And it's 1 of 16. Every team wants to start fast. Every team wants to go 1-0 this week. But at the same time, realize that, it's football. Someone's going to win. Someone's going to lose. It's not the end of the world. Like I said, it's not going to define us. But certainly we are trying to start fast.
Alex, I know you just kind of addressed this, but, is there a concern/curiosity as to what it's all going to look like when you get out there on Sunday, considering you haven't shared a game field with some of these very important pieces of the offense?
Yeah. I think that's every single year, though. I think regardless. Every single year there's a little bit, you're setting sail and going to find out. And certainly it is a journey. I think that over the course of the season it's not always the same. Teams ascend and teams descend over the course of a year. And so, like I said, though, I do think it kind of comes down to trying to just win this game. And a little bit, there's some blind faith that we all put into this.
Alex, you're a vet, obviously, on week ones, but do you still get, those butterflies sort of giddy, particularly that you are with a new team starting a new season?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think every year. It's been a long time since our last game for all of us, and it's exciting. I mean, I think that's part of the reason you keep playing is that feeling, the feeling of being alive and putting yourself out there, the vulnerability of it. And so, no question, we're going to go do it together. I mean, that's the great thing about the team sport element. I think it's the greatest game. We're devising our plan, they're devising their plan, and to go out there and try to execute it. So,
Alex, you've had a couple of weeks now with Adrian Peterson. I mean, in the preseason game, it was mostly just a lot of handoffs because he was so new. But now that you've had a couple of weeks, what are some of the things that he can do? What are some of the things that maybe surprised you even or you didn't know, or kind of playing with him?
I think how quickly he's got caught up to speed mentally. I think he's worked really hard at getting caught up to speed in all facets of the running back position. Certainly, protections are the most complex. Coming in, trying to master our system as fast as possible. Physically, I still think there aren't many limitations that I see. So really, I think from a mental standpoint, getting caught up enough that when you go out there, you can let those physical tools take over. That you know your stuff and you can go out there and play. And I think that's kind of what we're all trying to do.
Going back to working with some of the new guys, Chris Thompson, Jordan Reed, and obviously, like you said, you've worked with them out here in practice. What things can you tell about them in practice that give you enough confidence that in a game, certain situations will play out the way you feel? And then how much do you still need to learn about them in an actual game?
Yeah, I don't think there's any one thing. I think it's cumulative. You're just trying to get as many reps as possible just to kind of bank those. I mean, and I think trying to create as much of a game-like situation out here on the practice field is part of that. And I think we've done that. Have really, really competitive periods out here, working a lot of the different situational football against our defense with those guys in the mix. And I think those reps are all cumulative.
Hey, Alex, I was wondering if you could sum up kind of from when you got traded now to the doorstep of this season, just what has this process been like for you, learning the new offense, kind of being introduced to the fan base, new teammates, all of it. Just what have these months been like for you?
I mean, I certainly haven't had any time to reflect. For me, and full steam ahead. Like I said, trying to make the most of the short amount of time to be ready to roll, and that's it. And so, doing everything I can to help us, win this week. I think come after the season, off season, there'll be time for reflection and things like that. But right now, I haven't looked back. I haven't had time. I don't think any of us have that luxury. So, for me, looking forward. We've all been staring at this date for a long time now, and excited about it that it's here on the doorstep.
You've been a part of a lot of offenses. What is it about Jay's schemes or the things you've done so far that excite you about this team and this year going in?
I think the thing that excites me is that as an offense, both from a personnel standpoint and a playbook standpoint, that we're not limited. I don't think we're pigeonholed in any way. I don't think that we have that many limitations. I think we can do a lot. I think with that, though, there's a huge challenge. I think we can give teams a lot of fits and problems because we can do so much, but at the same time, we have to master all those phases and little things, and the details get magnified, I think, with an offense like this and the guys that we have. So I think the details are going to be big.
Being limited last year, Nagy really pushed you with the deep ball, something you didn't really have, kind of encouraged you to be aggressive with that. How much of that are we going to be able to see this season and really in week one?
Yeah, I think it's always, you try to make it a point of emphasis and to work on it, just like any other facet of the game. And I think those are things that change week to week. They change based off the matchups. They change based off the schemes and how they align. And certainly you don't always know when they're going to present themselves. You go into games thinking it's going to be bombs away, and you don't ever get the look you were anticipating, and vice versa. So, got to be ready for everything. Like I said, I think your training and fundamentals have to take over. That when those opportunities present themselves, that you've had the reps and the time to go hit it.
Alex, you guys have had some really hot days, whether it's Richmond or here. Obviously, you'll be playing in triple digits this weekend, and that's an uncontrolled setting. PK can't blow a whistle and let you guys get water. So anything you do to stay not just fresh physically, but mentally to make sure the heat doesn't affect you guys Sunday?
Yeah, I can't imagine there's teams that are more prepared for the heat than we are. I feel like, going back to camp and all the way up till now. I mean, we've had a lot of days in some crazy heat and humidity. I mean, it'll be nice, I think, going back west. I don't anticipate being this humid in the desert. So I think we'll be all right, though. I think practicing the elements we've practiced in have prepared us.
Alex, we've talked a lot about the guys you're still getting used to, but what about Vernon Davis has kind of allowed you guys to kind of pick up right where you left off?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to get back with Vernon, and the guys just amazed me, I think, from the day I got here, just what kind of shape he's in, how well he's trains and takes care of himself. I feel like he hasn't aged at all. I still feel like he, So that's been a ton of fun. He and I have obviously get along really, really well, and it's been really cool to kind of step back in the huddle with him.
Alex, I mean, throughout your career, it's been a big thing. You're a low interception guy. And then last year, I mean, some people would say, oh, that's because he's being careful. And then last year, you guys took so many chances down the field. Interceptions were still low. I mean, what have you kind of learned about, risk versus taking opportunities?
So it's, that's the big defining thing for quarterbacks all the time, right? When to take the shots, when to take a little risk, and then when you do to hit them, to be accurate, be on time, miss in the right places. You can't go out there cautious, but I mean at the same time you got to see things. You got to trust your eyes, trust what they're telling you, and I think when those opportunities present themselves, you got to try to hit them, and a lot goes into that. It's easy to sit up here and say, and it's hard to actually do it on the field when it's happening fast. But there's so many things, from understanding protections, the line and the backs and myself all being in sync with that kind of stuff. Because a lot of times I do feel like that is incorporated with turnovers. When protection is good and sound and everybody's on the same page, more often than not, good things happen.
Just as a quick follow, are you at that point now where if you throw a couple of picks, say in a half, that you're still let it rip?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think so. I think I'm better equipped for that. You never, I mean, you have to be ready for anything. I mean, and I think you have to take those situations as they come. And for me, I think it's being locked into every single game situation, doing whatever I can to help us win. And certainly if you're ever to start like that, no doubt you better be able to snap into the moment and move on. So, thanks, Alex. Yeah, thank you.